Hello everybody, this is Yevgen from Ovox, a team of professionals who believe in making better marketing decisions based on data. And I want to welcome you guys on today's training, and I hope you are doing well today. To make sure you guys can see me and my screen here, please type into the chat whether you can see me and hear me. I'm going to have a little delay, but I'm going to see your answers in the chat. And before we begin, let me know what you guys are doing. What's your job title? What are you passionate about? Please tell me whether you are a marketer or a data professional. And maybe you are responsible for the traffic acquisition in the company. Just type into the chat what's your role in the company. All right? I'm just gonna wait for a couple minutes while the people are getting here. So just let me know, what's your job title? What are you doing now? What are you passionate about inside your business? And I know today's gonna be a cool training. All right? So let me just dive deeper in. Please block everything that might distract you for the next hour or so, maybe a bit longer, and I promise you it's gonna be worth of your time. I'm gonna give you guys the valuable knowledge that you can use to improve decision-making at every stage of paid acquisition and boost return on investment. And I promise I'll make it worth of your time. We're gonna be running fast and covering a lot of really cool things today, so I hope it won't be boring for you. Thanks for attending this live training, because today we're gonna be talking about cracking the attribution code, how to use the power of data to supercharge your ROI. So in case you've never heard of me or our company before, here is a quick introduction of who we are. My name is Yevgen, and I'm the marketer at Ovox. We help companies from e-commerce, retail, fintech, SaaS, and actually many other industries to close the loop between marketing and revenue. In Ovox, we believe that every decision maker has to deal with data freely. Neither software nor analysis should be a bottleneck for marketing strategy and execution. And over the last 5 years, we've provided over 2,000 companies from 50+ countries across 23 different industries with all-in-one marketing analytics platform to make fully informed, data-driven business decisions. And our track record of success is the reason why international brands like SEMrush or Bank International came to us for help with their data analytics. And here is how our software actually helps businesses to get the most out of their data. First, we help collecting all of the marketing data in one place, in the data warehouse. Also, we help our customers to get the server-side tracking implemented, which helps to get your website user behavior data collected and to have the data that you can really rely on. We then help to convert raw marketing data into insights by using a set of plug-and-play pre-built transformation templates, or you can always use your own, so you can drive revenue to make decisions faster. And just some news before we actually begin the training. Over the last 7 years, thousands of businesses used our tool for importing their non-Google advertising costs to Google Analytics Universal. And I believe you guys already know that the sunset of Google Analytics Universal in July this summer. And I just want to make sure that you are aware of this. And if you were using Google Analytics Universal before, it's time to actually move your reporting into Google Analytics 4. And the reason I'm saying this is because Google is also deprecating standard attribution models in Google Analytics 4. And that is why I've decided to run this training today. And I'm super excited to show you guys where the marketing attribution stands right now and how we envision it in 2023 and beyond. So this being said, here is what we'll be covering on this training today. I will show you what the marketing attribution is. I will show you why do you need to use the marketing attribution. What are the standard, boring attribution models, and we'll just quickly run over and discuss why they are still important for the businesses. We'll dive deep into more advanced algorithmic models. We'll talk about what are the benefits of using machine learning in marketing attribution, what are the methods to actually evaluate and improve ROI with attribution, and finally, what is the future of attribution in marketing. So let's dive right in. What is the marketing attribution? Marketing attribution is the process of identifying and assigning the credit to the various marketing channels and touchpoints that contribute to a desired outcome or conversion, such as a sale or a customer acquisition. In other words, attribution is a science of determining what caused a sale. It helps marketers define how, where, and when a buyer interacts with a brand. With this data, marketers modify and improve advertising campaigns by increasing return on their ad spend. It's essential to understand that marketing attribution isn't just about measuring the effectiveness of your campaign, but also about understanding how each advertising channel contributes to overall of your conversions and revenue. So, why would you want to use marketing attribution? Why do you need to use the marketing attribution? In the ideal world, customers would buy immediately after viewing ads for the first time. Here's how the sales process might look in the ideal scenario. You show the ad, you make an offer, you sell. That's it. But in reality, however, things are significantly more complicated. Let me just give you a quick real-life example from a non-digital world. I'm going to describe here what I call a pizza funnel. And you're probably familiar with an AIDA model: awareness, interest, desire, and action. That's just kind of a funnel structure. So let's imagine a person that is driving down the highway when he spots a hilarious billboard advertising a new brand of pizza. It catches his attention, and he makes a mental note to try out one day. So the stage number 1 of our pizza funnel is the billboard encounter, also known as the awareness stage. A few days later, the person overhears his colleague raving about the same pizza brand during a casual conversation at the office water cooler. Intrigued by their enthusiastic reviews, the person decides to give it a shot. This stage is known as interest or the office water cooler. After a long day at work, the person finds himself in the depth of hunger and decides it's time to order some food. He remembers the billboard at the water cooler conversation and chooses the same pizza brand he's been hearing about. This stage is a hungry breakdown, which is typically known as desire. The stage number 4 of our pizza funnel is the pizza delivery. The pizza arrives, and as the person opens the box, he is greeted by the most delicious looking pizza he had ever seen. He takes a bite and instantly falls in love with this cheesy goodness. This is actually a conversion stage, or now let's move on to the stage number 5. It's about the pizza party. The person, taste buds and forever changed, and he becomes a raving fan of the pizza brand. He starts hosting pizza parties at his place, inviting friends and family to share the pizza from the delivery. This stage is known as loyalty or retention. And finally, we have an optional stage number 6 here in this funnel, and I call it the pizzapreneur. Inspired by the pizza, the person decides to open his own pizza point. He uses the pizza's brand recipes, branding, and is paying a few bucks of a franchise fee from every pizza sold to the pizza brand. This is even the following stage for the business model that we are not going to be talking here today on the training. So basically, the customer journey starts with a funny encounter with a billboard and evolves into a lifelong love affair with pizza, ultimately resulting in the person becoming a successful pizza entrepreneur. But how do you know which advertising channel and the campaign works best at what stage of the funnel? Attribution helps to figure this out. By knowing the value of the session, you can calculate the value of campaigns, taking into account their contribution to the user's promotion through the funnel. So who gets the attribution credit? The billboard? Or maybe the colleague talking about the pizza near the cooler? Or maybe the hunger? Or the previous tasty pizza that led to a big party order? The different touch points along the way, such as the water cooler and the delicious pizza itself, contribute to the attribution of the customer decision to become a loyal customer and eventually opening his own pizza business. The data scientist would probably say that it should be distributed with some proportion. But what is that proportion? Who should be getting the credit, and what should be the distribution of the credits? That's where the marketing attribution actually comes into play. So, what are the typical questions that attribution helps marketers to answer? First, you'll be able to figure out which marketing channels led to the highest number of conversions. Second, which is even more important, is how to actually redistribute or increase the ad spend to get more sales, because at the end of the day, every business is about getting more sales and making more money. Number 3, what might be the improvements or recommendations for the future ad campaigns? And number 4, are there any gaps in the customer journey that you need to fix? But what is the right model to get all of those questions answered? What are the other questions that could be answered by marketing attribution to increase the effectiveness of your advertising campaigns that is leading to the ROI growth? So how could you actually navigate and benefit from different marketing attribution models? Let's start from the boring attribution model. I don't want to say outdated, because in my opinion, some of them are still pretty much required for most of the businesses at the specific stages. And before we begin, I'd like to show you this slide that we're going to be getting back a few times later, and it shows the decision level by the different job titles or even departments that could be used to make the specific decisions at the different frequency, based on the different attribution models with different tools. And some of the layers actually still require those boring models that we're gonna be talking right now. The most boring models are used at the execution level by the bid managers, traffic managers, those guys who are just running the ad campaigns in the businesses or in the marketing agencies. And they need to get those data nearly in real time to get the budget distribution and the campaign adjustments. Let's start with the first model. It's called the first-click attribution model, and it will look back at the very first campaign that lead received within the attribution window, giving 100% of the credit for the conversion. For example, if a customer finds your business through a search ad, completes a subscription form on your site, receives an email, and then he is retargeted by Facebook ad before actually converting, that first search ad will receive 100% credit for this conversion. First-click attribution is incredibly simple and easy to implement, but it gives marketers a narrow understanding of the customer journey and may downplay the impact of the other channels. But if you are very focused on building awareness for your product or your brand and bringing people into the funnel, first-touch attribution model will be your go-to. What are the pros? It's really simple and straightforward, and it works very well for the businesses with a short buying cycle. What are the cons? The first-click attribution models actually ignores the effects of the other marketing channels after the initial touch point, like retargeting or the other types of ads that you might catch the same person and show the ad again. And what's even more importantly, that as a result of the first-click attribution model, you can get the inaccurate recommendations for the future marketing campaigns. And once again, first-click marketing attribution model is really helpful if your business tends to convert customers immediately. In this case, the first touch point is especially important. And today is the last day that the first-click attribution model is available in Google Analytics. If you are not watching me live, this has already happened. Google already deprecated most of the standard attribution models in Google Analytics 4. We'll talk about the reasons behind this a bit later, but now let's move on to the next classic model, which is all about the last click. It gives all of the credit to the very last touch point a lead was with your business before they converted, regardless of any of the steps in the customer journey. This is by far the simplest attribution model to implement and accurately track, as it directly links to the final touch point of a conversion. When this model is used alone, however, marketers run the risk of downplaying the importance of the other stages in the customer journey, especially if your product has a longer buying cycle. With the last touch attribution, you will gain an understanding of all the types of messages and channels that nudges leads over the finish line. These insights can be then used to build more effective retargeting campaigns and for the final stages of your nurture campaigns. Similar to the first attribution model, this is a good option if your business, this is not a good option for the longer sales cycle, but it is a good option if you have a very short sales cycle. Last click is going to be still available in Google Analytics 4 and might stay a bit longer than all of the other standard models that we're talking about right now. The last non-direct click attribution model assigns a credit for a conversion to the last marketing channel a customer interacted with, excluding the direct traffic. This is not the penultimate click. This is very important. This model disregards just the direct visits, considering the immediate preceding touch points as the primary driver of the conversion. This model is relevant to a wide range of industries, but it's really widely used for e-commerce, retail, and online services sales. It can be particularly useful for businesses with longer or complex customer journeys, where multiple touch points play a role of influence in the final conversion decisions. But the price of the product should be more or less cheap, not like a 5K month subscription. The last non-direct click model works well if the customer tends to convert right away when directly visiting your website. By knowing which marketing channel influenced the conversion decision, you'll be better equipped and you'll be able to optimize and capitalize your opportunities. And the last non-direct click, which was widely used by e-commerce, probably the most common attribution model in the e-commerce world, is going to be deprecated by Google Analytics 4 as well. The next, the linear attribution model, assigns equal credits to each touch points through the customer journey. What are the pros? Well, it includes the impact of all of the channels, and it's pretty much straightforward and quite easy to implement. It's also suitable for the businesses such as B2B companies with a very long sales cycle, for which it's important to maintain the contact with the client at all of the stages of the funnel. But what the cons are? It actually may underestimate the influence of the marketing channel. And it's also difficult to determine which marketing channel has the best performance and conversion potential, because you just consider them as equal. As a result, this model may not lead to the most effective marketing strategy. The next model is the time decay attribution model that gives more weight and credit to the touch points that occur closer to the conversion event, which gradually decreasing the credit assigned to the earlier touch points. It assumes that the closer a touch point is to conversion, the more influential it is in the decision-making process. This model is often used by marketers who want to empathize the impact of touch points in the later stages of the customer journey. It provides the insights into the effectiveness of the marketing channels and touch points as the customer moves closer to a purchase or another conversion event. It helps to optimize the strategies accordingly to this system. Like, the closer the customer is to conversion, the better we need to do the marketing for this specific group of people. So what are the pros? It works really well for clients with businesses heavily dependent on the relationship building. It's useful for optimizing the most influential touch points right before the conversions. And the time decay attribution model will work well if you have experienced expensive product offering and kind of a longer sales cycle. But what the cons are? It's not effective for the businesses with a short sales cycle, and it may not correctly incite the conversion credit to the earlier marketing touch points. Time decay model is also going to be deprecated by the Google Analytics 4. Sorry, I just need to grab some water. The last boring attribution model, and we're going to be diving right in the cool stuff. So the U-shaped attribution model, sometimes known as the position-based, assigns a significant proportion of the credit to the first and the last touch points, while distributing the remaining credit among the intermediate touch points. It acknowledges the importance of both of the initial and final interaction in the conversion process. This model is often used by marketers who want to highlight the role of both acquisition and closing channels. It provides insights into the effectiveness of various touch points at different stages of the customer journey, helping marketers understand which interaction contribute most to conversions and optimize their marketing strategies accordingly. What the pros are? It works really well for the businesses with multiple touch points before a conversion, and it assigns a conversion credit to all of the marketing touch points. That's it. But what the cons are? It may underestimate the impact of the marketing effort between the first and the last touch point. And if there are many marketing efforts in between the first and last touch points, conversion credit might be spread too thin. The U-shaped or the position attribution model is actually a robust model for businesses that have multiple touch points before a conversion. And as we've outlined, this attribution model gives at least some credit to every interaction. This means it's a good option for businesses with a brand awareness and conversion goals. It also factors in the influence of the other touch points, which will give a more accurate picture. U-shaped model, position-based model, that is also going to be deprecated by the Google Analytics. And you know what? Those boring models are still widely used. 21% of marketers still use only the first or the last click attribution models, while 35% of people still use the position-based model. And that's totally fine, but only 11% of people actually use the custom algorithmic attribution models that we are going to be talking about in the next section. Why is this happening? There should be a reason, right? Well, first, there is a lack of understanding of the potential attribution impact on your ad spend and ROI. Second, there is no ownership of the attribution or analytics inside the company. And last but not least, there is lack of trust in the data in the model and the data model that they're built on. It's time to look at our decision-making slide again, and looks, the boring models are typically used by the ad services, but what if you want to apply it to all of the advertising platforms together, to all of your ad spend, to redistribute the money, not just between the campaigns, but between the platforms? Not just to get a report by Facebook ads on Facebook ads, or by Google ads on Google ads. Before, marketers were really using the Google Analytics for this purpose, but now it's going away. And let me start opening the front curtain here. AWACS BI has the data preparation template that takes care of all that for you. Building you the report on the first click, last non-direct click, time decay, and the U-shaped all in one place, all in the one transformation template. Based on the reliable data that you collect, a single report is based on every attribution model, and then kind of a blended report with a comparison of the results by the different attribution models, so you can really make the decisions based on the big picture that you can have. Okay, but is there anything else available on the market? What are the other solutions? What are the other attribution models available? You've mentioned something about the algorithms, right? Well, in Google Analytics 4, there is an attribution model which aims to solve the above-described limitations of the other model, and it's called the Data-Driven Attribution Model, or DDA. It distributes the value of all of the sessions in the chain on the basis of a correlation between the presence of a source in the chain and conversions in the chain. This approach is way more advanced and unbiased than all of the above. It is an advanced attribution modeling approach that utilizes the machine learning algorithms to assign credits to different touchpoints in the customer journey. It analyzes data from multiple touchpoints and conversion path to determine the relative impact of each touchpoint in driving conversions. Sounds good? Well, yeah, but only as long as you don't need to explain to yourself or your boss why the data-driven attribution has given display advertising that exact value and not the other one. And why is the result counted on Google servers and the one you can't check yourself should be considered as the most accurate? And actually, why do you need to adjust the Facebook ad spend based on the calculations made by Google, which is Facebook kind of a competitor? At the end of the day, that's all about your ad dollars, right? And you want to spend them effectively. So here's just the 4 biggest limitations of the data-driven attribution in Google Analytics 4. The first one is about the data availability and the sample size. Sufficient data and a significant sample size are necessary for the algorithm to generate accurate attribution insights. The smaller businesses or those with limited data may not benefit as much. Number 2, the limitation of last-click data. Data-driven attribution heavily relies on accurate and comprehensive data. If there are gaps or inaccuracies in the data, the attribution results may not be reliable. Number 3, the data-driven attribution actually doesn't evaluate the progress of the funnel, and you can connect offline data from the CRM and see detailed information for each transaction. Number 4, as I've already mentioned, the DDA is a black box solution. Google doesn't reveal what goes into the algorithm that's preventing the machine learning. And that is a potential drawback, as well as if you're running Google ads and Facebook ads, you can be confident in its calculations. All attribution models described previously use the rules that are either set before by a web analytics tool, or you can set them yourself. In the contrast, a data-driven model doesn't have any predefined rules. It calculates the value of channels using your data and the Shapley vector. The problem of the data-driven attribution model is that it doesn't take into account the order of the channels in the chain, but rather evaluates how the presence of this channel affected the conversion. Suitable for anyone who wants to actually know which campaigns and keywords work as efficiently as possible and use the information to distribute the marketing budget. It's definitely not suitable for the businesses that need to know not only the value, but also the position of the channel in the chain or the stage of the funnel. What is available for those of you who want to get the most out of the data and know how everything is calculated? Well, yes, there is a geeky attribution model that would definitely help your business and that you would definitely want to try. It's actually not available in Google Analytics 4, but there are plenty of other tools available on the market, including Novox BI, that could handle a complex attribution approach to your user behavior and business data. And let me dive deep a bit. We're going to be starting with the attribution with the Markov chains. A Markov chain is a mathematical concept that models a sequence of events or states where the probability of transitioning from one state to another depends only on the current state. In the context of marketing attribution, a Markov chain can be used to model the sequences of touch points or interaction that a customer goes through before making a purchase. Each touch point represents a marketing channel or source, such as email, social media, search ads, etc. The attribution with Markov chains method assigns a value or weight to each touch point in the customer journey based on its influence on the conversion. The model considers the sequence of touch points and calculates the probability of transitioning from one touch point to another. This probability is used to determine the importance of contribution of each touch point in the overall conversion process. By analyzing the Markov chain model, marketers can gain insights into the effectiveness of different marketing channels and understand how the presence or absence of a specific touch point impacts the overall conversion rate. This information helps you allocate the budgets more effectively by investing more in high-impact touchpoints. Identify underperforming touchpoints or gaps in the customer journey and actually make data-driven decisions to improve them. And here is how the classic attribution report looks like. Cost and revenue comparison from different sources, mediums, and campaigns, and the budget advice. What to increase, what to decrease. But it's not enough to have just a single point evaluation of the advertising campaigns. Most likely, you have a sales funnel. You are not driving all of the ads to the checkout page and then all of the people ending up buying, right? And when you're running the ads, advertising campaigns are actually being under pressure from each other, and each of them actually contributes to the overall sales. If one of the campaign is disabled, the overall sales will slightly decrease. And here you can see it. I can see the sales before the channel shut down. And here's what happens when you switch off one of the channels. And on the last image, you can see the sales after the channel shut down. Let's look at this areas into more details. The number one, it shows what contribution does the channel make to the total sales. How much sales increased thanks to the channel is shown on the piece number 2. Number 3 is how much will sales decrease if the channel is disabled. And number 4 is how much value does the channel itself believe it brings. That's what you get if you're going to be using the funnel-based attribution that is based on the concept of the Markov chains. Looks cool, right? Because you know what? We all know the marketing is not flat. The world is not flat. The user is iterating with your brand, your business over time before actually making the conversion event. But what is the funnel-based attribution you've mentioned? How do you calculate the value? And why do you say that I can trust you, that I can trust those data more than the Google one? Well, here is the answer on how the value is calculated. First, you need to determine the steps of the funnel. For example, let's just look at the e-commerce example. It can be something like a useful visit, a product page view, the add to cart event, and then the purchase. It might be different based on the type of the business, and it might have the other naming, other stages, other types of the activity, but basically it's always about the funnel. Then you have to define a conversion window, which is the number of the days before the conversion. So you can distribute the value only to the sessions within the conversion window. Usually this parameter is set to 30 days, but you can make it custom based on your business needs. Last but not least, you'll need to select the channels that you really drive, you really influence. Which channels do you actually manage, assessing which channels lead to the redistribution of the advertising budget. You can exclude certain traffic sources, mediums, or campaigns and assign their value to the previous channels in the conversion chain. No algorithms can ever replace your experience. For example, you might know that your brand campaigns are exhausted and that their high ROAS doesn't mean you should be investing more in them. Well, we all know how that happens in marketing, right? And so let's go to the calculations, how the value is being calculated. For more clarity, again, these calculations are given for one of the thousands of the possible funnels. Of course, on any website there are hundreds of user segments and the probabilities of progression within the funnel are different for each of those segments. For example, the probabilities differ depending on the user's location and type, and you can include all of that in the model. I'm just going to be showing you a quick, simple example. Each step of the funnel has the 4 parameters: conversion rate, probability, score, and the value. The value of the steps is based on the probability of progression through this step, can be calculated by a few different methods. And after hundreds of experiments, we've chosen the method which has proven a very good resistance to noisy data and excellent results even with projects with a small number of visitors. The method is that each step of the funnel gets a score that equals 1 minus the probability of the progression through the step. The lower the probability, the higher score the step gets. The value of the step is calculated as the proportion of its score in the total score of all the steps. And please note that the total attributed value is always 100%. We don't distribute more value than we actually obtain. And also, the probability of a usual visit equals 1 minus the bounce rate. Therefore, for segments of the first-time buyers, the value of the first visit is higher than for the returning buyer. This is fully consistent with the business interest. And if you build the attribution model with Ovox BI, the segmented data is then available in your Smart Data Reports, Looker Studio, Google Spreadsheets, or in the other BI tool of your choice. And now that we know the value of each step of the funnel, we need to evaluate each session. This is simple. The value of the session is the sum of values of steps that were passed through during the session. The value is only assigned to all of the sessions that help the user to move on through one of the steps in the funnel, with the whole journey resulting in a purchase. Knowing the source of each session, we only need to group the sessions by advertising campaigns. As a result, will obtain the value of advertising campaigns considering their impact on users' progression through each step in the funnel, not only the final one. And by the way, the funnels are not always linear, and we'll need to consider this when implementing the model for sure. All right, so here is a list of data that you can use to get the funnel-based attribution model. First, you'll need the data on the user behavior from Google Analytics 4 or OXBI streaming, which is a more accurate tracking. Second, you'll need to get the cost data to your warehouse from the advertising services. Just collect everything using OXBI pipelines or the other ETL tool. Then, you'll need to get the transactional data from your CRM, call center, and internal accounting systems, whatever you use. This will allow you to use the offline sales and actual CRM revenue data in your attribution calculations. You can use your custom events as funnel steps, calls, emails, personal meetings, whatever it is. And the result of evaluating the impact of an advertising campaign on the funnel can be shown like this, when you not only see how you need to allocate the budget, but you know what is the effect of every campaign at every step of the funnel. Having just one number to evaluate an advertising campaign is not enough. It's absolutely necessary to understand how the evaluation is formed. And here is another example of the realization of the attribution model applied to the ad performance data. As you can see here on the slides, it's not linear. The different touch points are affected by different ad campaigns. The different steps in the funnel are affected by different channels. What are the benefits of machine learning in the marketing attribution? Well, the benefit number one is that you can improve the accuracy of analysis. Machine learning algorithms can quickly analyze the vast amount of both behavior and the cost data from the website and ad platforms respectively. The algorithms can see data patterns and trends that no human can spot, making analysis way more accurate. All this data can be used for reporting and to accurately attributing conversion value to marketing campaigns. Second, you can get the real-time insights into the marketing performance. Using all analyzed data, machine learning algorithms can provide the real-time insights into marketing performance. This helps marketers quickly adjust campaigns and optimize their marketing spend to achieve the better results. For example, using machine learning, OXBI evaluates each website visit immediately and calculates the probability to convert in the future. It doesn't need to wait for the actual conversion to happen to analyze it retrospectively. Number three, you can increase the efficiency of the marketing team. The AI in marketing attribution can automate many of the processes, freeing up the time and resources for marketers to focus on the other areas of business. I always like to say that the marketers should be focusing on the data analysis, not the data preparation. Number four, compliance with the privacy regulations. With the increasing focus on data privacy and security, the machine learning-based tools can help you to ensure that the compliance with regulations such as GDPR by actually minimizing the use of personal data, because you can model everything but using the machine. The next step is to improve the personalization. By analyzing the customer data, the user behavior data, the cost data, the machine learning can help you to identify the patterns and preferences, enabling marketers to create more targeted campaigns that better fit their audiences. Last but not least, the most important thing is by using the machine learning in marketing attribution, you can actually increase the return on the advertising or the return on the investment. The correct model helps marketers to know which channels and the channel bundles are the most effective, the most efficient, so they can redistribute the budget and increase the conversions and increase the ROI. That's it. That's what all of the marketers want by the end of the day. So if you are the strategic or tactical level, if you are a marketing or the acquisition leader, you'll definitely need to implement the algorithmic based attribution model to actually get the full picture, the clear view of your marketing performance. Whether you choose the Google Analytics 4 data-driven black box attribution solution, or whether you really need to know how the model is built and get the most comprehensive view of your advertising performance, and you select the funnel-based attribution model by Avox, you really need to do it. At the same time, the attribution model has actually no impact because 70% of marketers struggle to act upon the insights of attribution. And that's what I want you guys to avoid. Let's talk about the best practices to evaluating and comparing the results of the different attribution models to make data-driven business decisions that drive ROI. And actually, I'm going to tell you a couple of ways on how to reallocate your ad spend to drive campaign performance. So first, let's build a report with the key performance indicators. Choose the performance target to evaluate the efficiency of your advertising efforts. Most businesses focus on the return on the ad spend, but in your case, it can be also the return on the investment, cost per acquisition, cost per order, share of the advertising costs, whatever it is. The important thing is that when you compare this indicator for the two campaigns, you can understand which one of two is performing better. Now, let's build a report to compare the values of the chosen KPI. The first value is calculated according to the attribution model number 1. The other value is calculated according to the attribution model number 2. You can get the first click and the data-driven. You can get the last click and the funnel-based by Avox. You can get actually 3 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them, 6 of them. You can compare the results of all of the different attribution models in the same report. And that's why you can get within a few clicks in our tool. The next, segment your users for testing. How do you understand that the new attribution model and the return on the ad spend you've calculated provide a more objective measurement of your advertising campaigns? Well, it's quite simple. You use them while allocating your advertising budget and comparing the results. One user interacts with multiple campaigns, therefore, you cannot just physically split the advertising campaigns into 2 groups for testing. Moreover, the same advertising budget can be divided into 2 different ways at one time, which means you can't just run a classic A/B test for testing the attribution models. But at the same time, you need to identify the audience segments, and there are other ways on how to do it. For example, let's be a bit of an old-fashioned. You can break down the segments and campaigns by country. Advantage? This option is really easy for testing and for targeting. The limitation? Well, if you're a local business and you are targeting just the same country, or if you know that the results in the different countries are different, that might be a problem. Well, I'll give you option number 2. You break down the segments and campaigns by regions inside the country. Advantage? This option is well suited for projects working within a single country. And the limitation is that the advertising campaigns are not always divided by region, and it might be difficult or a bit difficult to do it. Yeah, all right, I have an option number 3. You just reallocate your budget for the whole project, all at once. Advantage? This option is ideally suited for the projects with a stable and well-measured return on the ad spend. Limitations? The effect of the attribution model on the result will be less clear. Let's talk about the step number 3. We're going to actually reallocate the advertising budget. The report you build in the first step will reveal which campaigns are overvalued and which campaigns are undervalued. Before the reallocation of the budget, you need to decide which holds the higher priority for you. If you need to maximize the revenue at the current advertising budget, simply reallocate the advertising budget from the overvalued advertising campaigns to the undervalued ones. If you need to maximize the revenue at the current return on the ad spend, just increase the budget for the undervalued campaigns. If you need to preserve revenue at a lower advertising budget, transfer a portion of the revenue from the overvalued campaigns to the undervalued ones. And before increasing the budget for any of the campaigns, it's important to factor an external indicator which can be measured by attribution. Not all of the things can be automated by using the machine learning. I'm talking about the amount of traffic a channel can realistically generate. If you conclude that you've reached a growth plateau in the campaign, a budget increase would not help you. This advertising campaign should be the last one to have its budget increased. Step number 4, I'm talking about determining the testing period. The model testing times depend on the conversion window. Like, it's time during which buyers pass through the funnel. Typically, it's like up to 30 days, but the conversion window is typically 30 days, but it might be different based on your business. In our experience, the optimal testing period is somewhere between up to 3 conversion windows, like from 30 days to 90 days. The first 75% of time is not generally the period when things are happening. This is when you are reallocating the budget according to the new attribution model. So if your conversion window is 30 days, I do recommend you determine the testing period for the quarter. Last but not least, the step number 5 is about analyzing the result. And when comparing the results of using different attribution models, you need to look at the changes of the overall return on the ad spend in the segment, not the return on the ad spend of any particular advertising campaigns. The objective is that the team result with advertising campaigns complementing each other to guide users through the funnel. Therefore, it is expected that after the allocation of the advertising budget, some of the campaigns may acquire a lower value. That's totally fine. But the project as a whole will earn more. This result can be reached within the last non-direct click attribution, where each campaign is evaluated as is, and the assists are not taken into account. Please be aware that the attribution can't measure the undervaluation of channels if you are not using them. For example, if you are not using media advertising or the RTB, the attribution will have nothing to evaluate. The only way to discover the value of the new source is to test them out. And most importantly, as you attribute, so shall you receive. If you're evaluating your advertising channels by the revenue from the transactions recorded in Google Analytics, you will optimize your advertising campaigns to work towards this goal. With that said, it's more likely that your business goals are to make profits from online customers with the consideration of the orders made via a call center or the offline orders, and to include the product margins and the transportation expenses. The impact of those factors on your advertising campaigns is uneven. Therefore, if you take this into account, it will also affect the allocation of your advertising budget and allow you to increase the return on the ad spend. So, what is the future of marketing attribution? How artificial intelligence and machine learning can actually change the game. The rise of cookie restrictions and tracking limitation has made traditional rule-based models, those boring models that we've been talking about in the beginning, increasingly difficult to implement. Why? Because of the quality of the data. And this is where the machine learning actually comes in, as it provides an alternative way for business to accurately attribute conversions to the marketing channels that are driving them. So, what is the future of marketing attribution? Once again, as I mentioned, the boring models would stay. Yes, it's a problem to get those data, but at the same time, it's very important at the various stages of the decision making to know how to drive the brand awareness on the high level and which campaigns should be done for the conversion at the last level. So, sorry. Yep, just a second. All right. The second point of the future of the marketing attribution is the tracking restrictions and the cookie usage limitations. The need for privacy-focused measures has become increasingly important in the digital age, where data is being collected, analyzed, and used for various purposes. In recent years, companies like Apple, Mozilla, and Google have taken measures to protect user privacy by introducing new features and technologies. And this is when marketing attribution turns to machine learning, actually. They can analyze vast amount of data, including all of the customer interaction with the website, to accurately attribute value to marketing campaigns. All right? The next point of the future of the marketing attribution is that the focus will be on the notion of cross-screen management. Well, we're using the laptops, the computers, mobile phones, and the tablets, and it's very important to track the activity of the same user on the different devices, then in the different browsers inside one device, and then in the mobile app and the browser. All right, it's very important to combine the same person as the same person. Number 4, it's all about the attention span, because there are more and more ads, search ads, display ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, and the attention will actually become the dominant advertising currency. Last but not least, the product offering are going to be tailored to the buying history, because the personalization is a large part of the digital marketing. And one exciting attribution tool will be individualized product offerings based on previous viewing and purchasing activity. As an example, if you buy a product that you only need one of, like a barbecue, you won't be shown barbecues again, but complementary products. The customer journey will likely be longer with this type of tool, but it will also be more profitable. No matter where your company is in its digital transformation, choosing a marketing attribution model that works is crucial for your business. Now, what are the key takeaways of today's training? So, what is the plan? So first, you need to start with a clear goal, strategy, and set of objectives. Number 2, you get an internal buy-in for the attribution. Number 3, you'll need to focus on defining the customer journey, like that funnel that you drive your customers through. Number 4, you need to ensure the data quality, because if you cannot rely on data, if you don't trust your data, you won't trust your attribution model results. Number 5 is about using the flexible technology. Today, in the digital world, you can use many tools to build the attribution model that you want. Number 6, you'll need to test different attribution models that are going to be aligned with your business goals and business needs. You can use the attribution model that is based on algorithms and the boring attribution model, or you can use a couple of boring attribution models and just compare the results and make the decisions based on the mix. And the last one, that is probably the most important. If you get the results of the attribution models, you need to act on them. The one thing is that if you don't trust the model results, but another thing is that if you trust the attribution model results, you need to act on them to actually get a chance to get more return on the investment, because the attribution model is created for this purpose. The greatest potential for applying the machine learning models is in the supporting of technical and strategic tasks, and you will want to use the boring models to make some changes on the execution level. Before actually selecting the appropriate attribution model for your business, make sure you have answered all of the following questions. What is the decision-making level? Is it a visionary, like the CEO, COO, if it's the strategic, if you're a marketing leader, e-commerce director, growth leader, is that the tactical level, the acquisition leader, the head of acquisition, the marketing agency owner, and then the last, the execution level, if you're a traffic manager or a bid manager. Then what budget distribution are we aiming for? Do you want to distribute the data between the channels or between the campaigns? Or you want to dive deep and redistribute everything on the keyword or the creative level? The number 3, what data do we have available for the calculations? Do you actually have only user behavior data? Are they reliable? Can you trust those data? Do you have the cost data from the ad platforms? Do you have your CRM data collected and prepared in the right format for adding to the model? Or what tools do you have available to implement the results? Are you ready to adjust the traffic strategy based on the attribution model results, based on the data that you get? Or are you still going to adjust the campaigns based on the data from the ads platforms and the performance of each campaign separately without seeing the full picture? If you need help with getting the attribution model built, maybe you need a custom attribution model built for you, or you just need to speak to a data expert, we're here for you. Our vision is to empower marketers and acquisition specialists to make better business decisions based on data. So if you need help with an attribution, if you need help with the data collection, data transformation, or data visualization, schedule a call to speak to a member of our team, answer your questions, get expert support, get expert advice. Try Vox BI for free and transform your data into actionable insights with us. Thanks for your time, and let's move on to the Q&A time. I'm here